Good morning from a sunny but breezy allotment. I've decided to get those leeks in. You'll have noticed in the last video I was in two minds, but I'm going to thin these ones out that are in this bed and I'm going to put some in here so they're all in one place. So as you can see, I've used the trusty old dibber just to make the holes, and now I'm just going to split these and get them in. So just gently tease them apart. He says these are quite tough. And once you've got them, just bob them in the hole. I've had a couple of days off, as I told you in the last video, to try and get the plot sorted out, and I've managed to make some headway. So what I'll do is I'll get these planted and I'll take you around and I'll show you where we've got to. Right, that's those planted. We'll just give the holes the water, and what will happen is they will just fill in themselves each time they're watered. You can never get enough leeks, especially in the winter. So onto those jobs that I managed to get sorted. I managed to get the steer on onions lifted, and they're now just drying here in the greenhouse, the small greenhouse. As you can see, they're a fair old size. So they're all drying. I've cleared that bed now, and I've also managed to harvest quite a lot of my tomatoes, as you can see. But look at these here. I'm going to have to find out the variety. It was a friend that gave me them. You can see the size of those, like apples. Once I get the name, I'll let you know what they are. But a good old bunch of them coming in there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying those. I think they're more of a beef steak sort of tomato. Right, I'll take you outside. I've put myself a couple of well, I say a couple, I've put myself 6 cauliflowers in there. Fingers crossed that they do better than the ones I planted in the springtime. Let's hope. Down to the bottom here, this bed was full of cauliflowers. I sowed them direct, and I've thinned those out now, and there are 1 or 2 spare plants that I've kept in the cold frame. I'll keep a couple spare for myself just in case any of these fail, but then the rest I'll give away. This side had Savoy cabbage in. I took some out. I again sowed them in drills. I took some out down to the net tunnel and planted some in there, and then I pulled the rest out. Again, took some spares and spaced them out. To me, it seems like ants are having a bit of a go in this bed, and when the plant gets big they can cope with that, but when they're small, if you're not careful, they can decimate the whole plant. That one there's not looking healthy at all. Some nice pumpkins there, look. And over here, a few spare Savoys. So really, we tend to find that we do the Sunday roast and that sort of thing more in the winter. So we eat more greens in the winter, so that's why I'm growing so many cauliflowers, cabbage, leeks, that sort of thing. going to take you down just to show you the excuse my shadow. The abundance of beans. I've been watching all the YouTube channels and allotment channels, and everybody's saying the same thing. The beans are cropping like crazy. Lovely little squash. You cheeky squash developing there in the planting pod. I find these really handy. I've grown potatoes in them before. I've also grown salads in there. Just scattered the seeds on the top, brought them on in the greenhouse, but when they've reached maturity, I've just picked the planting pod up, which has two handles at the side here, pick that up, take it home and just bob it by the doorstep. So they're really handy to have, really handy to have. Go down towards the other end. The runner beans there again. And I'm loving those Elsa Craigs. I'm totally converted. I will be sowing all my onions from seed every year from now on. They are absolutely cracking. More beans. Basil's looking really well, with the fennel as well. I'll be taking some of that basil to roast with the tomatoes. I've neglected to show you the sunflowers this year for some reason. They look lovely there, just wafting about against that blue sky. And there in amongst the wood in the coal frame are the spare brassicas. I've bobbed them in there obviously to protect them from the pigeons and the cabbage whites, but I'll be keeping a couple for myself and then just passing them on to some of my plot neighbours. These potato bags are looking nice and healthy. I'm going to start to have a look at those. There's one over in the corner that's really dying back, so I might check that out and see if there's anything for the Sunday dinner this week. I also managed to get rid of all the waste, weeds and things like that. We're fortunate on our allotment, we're entitled to fires. I understand there's a lot of people are not, but it's a great way to get rid of the weeds that you don't want to put in the compost. There's a few bits over there still to burn. I've got to get this sorted because I've got to prep that loading bay there the next sort of 4 weeks for some leaf mould. So I need to get cracking with that. Anybody want to give me a hand? Just put back into the small greenhouse because I forgot to mention all these tomatoes at the front, they're all a bush variety and they're all overflowing over the scaffold board that you can't see. I'm going to be harvesting a lot of these over the next week or so. Any green ones I'll put to one side to make for chutneys, but then I'm going to get these out. I'm going to add a little bit of compost into the front of the bed, and then I'm going to start off some salads in here, some more lettuce. It's just that little bit of protection, and I should be able to grow lettuce in here right the way through till probably November at least, fingers crossed. So that's going to be a plan for the greenhouse. Believe it or not, I've actually made a start on the sun shelter at last. It's really difficult to show you with the light, but as you can see now, I've started to get that nice and level. I need probably about another 4 bags of sharp sand. I'll screed that out with the rods and those pavers that you can see at the back there and here are what I'm going to use. So fingers crossed guys, now that I've made a start I might see it through. Believe it or not, I cut the grass just a couple of days ago and it needs doing again. I normally cut it on level 3 but I had to cut it on level 4 because it was that high. So you might be able to just see in the distance there my lawnmower. So this is the side path of the bottom plot. Then obviously I've got the 2 lawns to do. So I'm going to crack on and do that. But then if we spin round, this is going down to the bottom end of the front plot. And there's just a little bit of grass there to do. And across the front edge of the plot. So I'm going to get that done. And then do you know what? I think we're near enough back on track. Well guys, that's all the grass cut. All the little jobs that I needed to, all the niggly jobs are all done, bar one, that little piece of turf, but that can wait. So hopefully in the next few days we'll crack on with the sun shelter, get that piece of turf down and we're back on top. So that's it for me today. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just watching and you've not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, that'd be much appreciated. Thanks to the new subscribers, and as usual guys, take care, have a great weekend. I'll see you next week, and happy growing.